Hey guys, Jamstrap here and welcome back to another video. And in this one I'm going to be going over most of the big Chaos Legions, kind of giving you like little hints and tips about what they're about, their playstyles, their well, not really their aesthetic, because pretty much all Chaos Space Marines look the same. They're not exactly as fleshed out as Space Marines are, unfortunately, well, at least on the tabletop. And kind of like when I said about Space Marines, with Chaos Space Marines, because they are Space Marines, they are extremely versatile. They can do shooting, they can do long range, mid range. So different legions will have a kind of thing that they lean towards, like psychic powers or close combat. But at the end of the day, they can all do a bit of everything anyway. Now, I've already done a video on Chaos Space Marines before and why you should maybe play them. But I was asked by Mattia Randy, hope I said your name right. But you asked me if I could, give the same kind of treatment that I did to the Space Marines with the Chaos Space Marines. So this is it. I'm going to have a go at it now. Alrighty, so I'm going to start with the Alpha Legion. And like I said before, on the actual GW range, there isn't that many specific models for the different legions. They're pretty much all just the same kind of models. You just paint them differently. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop over to Forge World over here, because the Horus Heresy series, they've got some great sculpts and stuff like that that can show you what is the static of the army and stuff, and I can scroll through this and you guys can have a look. And of course you can buy a lot of these things and pop them on your actual 40k Marines just to give them extra bit of flavor. Now if you've been in the hobby for a while now, you probably would have seen all the memes and stuff about Alpha Legion, like are they loyalists, are they not, all that kind of stuff. But basically they are the sneaky Marines. They rely a lot on deceiving people and kind of spying and all that kind of stuff, infiltrating other legions, deception and sabotage, all that kind of stuff. Think about kind of an evil James Bond in space. That's kind of what the Alpha Legion have got going on for themselves. As for their kind of playstyle, you can imagine they've got a lot of kind of deployment and deep strikey things. Yeah, it's all about, tactics and moving around people and all that kind of stuff. Once again, though, Chaos Space Marines just aren't really as fleshed out as some other things, like Space Wolves, Blood Angels, all that kind of stuff. So they play pretty much just like Chaos Space Marines, but they've got a couple extra stratagems and stuff like that that help them, give them an extra bit of sneaky flavor, I guess. Alrighty, on to the Black Legion. They're basically the Ultramarines of the Chaos Space Marines. I know a lot of people are probably going to hate me for saying that, but they are the poster boys. I mean, with good reason. I mean, they're probably the biggest legion. Out of all of them, they've got Abaddon, the Despoiler over here. He's one of the main guys that drives the lore currently in 40k as well. Now, like I said, I did a video on Chaos Space Marines and I basically spoke about these guys. They're the jack of all trades, they do everything, they're tactical, they're well-rounded. And, the Boxar here, the black kind of armor with the gold, these guys are all the Black Legion kind of dudes. So pretty much everything in here can fit into a Black Legion. Black Legion welcomes anybody if you worship Nurgle or whatever, but generally they're undivided. They don't sway to any god in particular, and yeah, they just, like I said, they're the well-rounded guys. And I'm just going to shoot through this because quite a few to go through, and these guys are just like your bog standard dudes. This is where all other Chaos Space Marines diverge from. This is it. Alright, on to Emperor's Children. And they do have some specific kind of models on the GW side. I mean, we've got Lucius the Eternal right here, and we've got Noise Marines and stuff. But basically, the Emperor's Children are the legion that worships Slaanesh. Now, I'm pretty sure they're probably going to get their own kind of unique faction at some point soon, kind of like the Death God and the Thousand Sons. They're going to get fleshed out really nicely. I was going to say no pun intended, but I don't know if that is a pun. But I mean, the guy is wearing people's skins, so yeah. Now jumping over to Forge World just for a nice little aesthetic kind of view. Lore-wise, the Emperor's Children, they just kind of seek perfection. They want perfection in all things. Warfare, anything like that. And excess in all things. That's the whole Slaaneshi side of them. Everything is over the top, loud, crazy. Their armor is pink. It's all about torture and doing lots of naughty stuff just to kind of, gain pleasure and stuff like that. All the excess, all that kind of stuff. Now, they can, once again, they can do a bit of everything. They probably lean slightly more towards the shooting side of things than combat. But, yeah, they can definitely do it. And also they combo really well with the Demons of Slaanesh, obviously because they are the Slaaneshi kind of worshipping legion. So you can ally in these guys if you want as well. Once again, the actual units you will have are just the standard Space Marine ones, but you'll just paint them up like pink or something. So obviously the demons and stuff, you know, all about close combat, psychic phases and all that kind of stuff. I've done videos on demons as well before. So yeah, that's pretty much the Emperor's Children. And now moving on to Iron Warriors. And the Iron Warriors are kind of like the greatest siege legion. They can pretty much destroy any defenses, anything from like a massive fortress world to, I don't know, any sort of like bunker or something like that. They can destroy anything. They're just really, really great at sieges. Obviously, like you can see in this image here, all about robotics and yeah, they got robotic limbs. Very, very similar to the Iron Hands on the Space Marine side. And like, you know, with the name and the aesthetic, you can kind of see they're all about hammers, shields, tanks, all that kind of stuff. And I don't know why it's showing Lord of the Rings stuff in this picture here, but yeah. Now, as the Iron Warriors, they kind of lean a lot more towards ranged combat. You know, they've got a lot of obliterators, tanks, and they're pretty durable as well. So yeah, if you like tanks, heavy machinery, weapons and all that kind of stuff, the Iron Warriors are definitely a cool one. I actually really like the Iron Warriors myself. Well, I like the Primarch specifically. And then on to the Night Lords. Now Night Lords, you kind of just think Batman and the Joker combined, slapped on some power armor and shot up into space to fight aliens and stuff like that. And that's basically what you get. They're all about ambush tactics, terror and all that kind of stuff. And of course they like to flay their enemies and wear their skin on their power armor as well. I mean, that's always a good thing. Here's a little upgrade sprue, which is not looking very good right now. Yeah, here's some of the Horus Heresy stuff. They got some of the greatest characters in that line and really, really, really cool. Nice color scheme, all that kind of stuff. Like I say, playstyle, they're all about terror tactics, you know, destroying your enemies, like leadership and morale. You know, get a couple guys with jump packs and power claws and just, you know, fly into your enemies and just start shredding things up. They're pretty versatile as well. They're pretty well-rounded. But yeah, just evil, power-armored, flesh-flaying Batman dudes basically is what the Night Lords are. Next up, we got the Wordbearers. Now, these guys are your religious, like, zealous fanatics. Just think about, like, religious pilgrims traveling the universe to, like, change people over to their religion. And yeah, back in the Horus Heresy time before they turned traitor, you know, obviously they try to make everybody worship the Emperor as a god. And now, because of them turning to chaos, they go and preach all over about chaos. And because of this kind of zealotry and love for the chaos gods and all that kind of stuff, they get a lot of possessed. Like you can see these dudes here in the Horus Heresy line, these guys are awesome. You know, they're really mutated, possessed looking dudes. Like even this Dreadnought's possessed up. But yeah, I'm not going to lie, playstyle wise, I don't know too much about them in 40k. What their main thing is, I think they've got quite a lot of like psychic powers. And like I said, you can be running quite a few possessed. And yeah, so if you like extremely religious, zealous dudes running around with mutated marines, psychic powers and stuff, then yeah, Wordbearers are definitely the army for you. Alright, and moving on to the World Eaters. Not to be mistaken for the Wordbearers. I almost mistook it myself then for a second. Now this is the legion that's completely dedicated to the chaos god Khorne. And he's the god of like bloodshed, war, just the warrior kind of life, honor, you know, collecting people's skulls and all that kind of stuff. It's all about the war. He's the god of war, basically. And because of that, you can probably tell that their play style and all that kind of stuff is going to be pretty straightforward. They're extremely angry guys that love running up the board with chain axes and just smashing people apart. They're just a bunch of berserker dudes. Yeah, so nothing too tactical about them. They just like to run up, mince people in the face. Not much to say about them apart from aesthetically, they're awesome. And they should be getting their own Legion once again, kind of like Thousand Suns and Death Guard, but that'll probably still be quite a few more years. Alright, so that's pretty much the main Chaos Legions. I know you got like the Brazen Beast, I think it is, you got the Purge, you got the Red Corsairs, all that kind of stuff. But I think, like I've said a million times at this point, Chaos Space Marines are just kind of Chaos Space Marines. There's like, you'll get a few stratagems and maybe a couple things like that that change up their playstyle slightly, but they're definitely not as fleshed out as like the Space Marines are now with their own codexes and all that. So that's why I'm kind of just been brushing through it very, very quickly. But I'm going to end off quickly on the last two with Death Guard and Thousand Suns. I've done a complete video about Thousand Suns. I'll link that up now if you want to check it, like a more in-depth one. But it's a quick kind of rundown. Death Guard are completely loyal to Nurgle, the Chaos God of like disease and everything disgusting and being extremely durable. Now they have quite a unique aesthetic to them. That's like I think it might be a bit Marmitey because they're extremely over the top, but I think a lot of it works. It's quite cool. Now, like I said, they're an extremely tanky and slow army. They're good at kind of mid-range to close combat, but their main thing is just being extremely durable. You beat your enemies by just whittling them down slowly while they can't get rid of you at all. This is one of my favorite playstyles. I've always liked the whole kind of tanky vibe in video games and stuff like that. So I like slowly walking up the field, shooting away at people, eventually getting up in their face. That's what Death Guard's all about. And lastly, we got the Thousand Suns. Now they're the legion that's dedicated to Tzeentch, the Chaos God of like change and manipulation and psychic powers and all that kind of stuff. The Lord of Change, basically. And as you can probably tell, they're heavily into psychic powers. Pretty much all their Marines have psychic powers, and they kind of got that kind of slightly Egyptian aesthetic to them. I mean, Ahriman's an absolutely awesome model right here. They've got a Primarch, Magnus the Red. He looks cool. So yeah, if you want a legion of Space Marines that are just blasting out psychic powers everywhere, they've got these crazy little demons and all that kind of stuff following them around, definitely the army for you. But yeah, I'll actually be doing a dedicated video to Thousand Suns pretty soon in my Which Army Should You Play series. But I think I'm going to call it there, guys. I'm going to give you a quick like rundown, recap at the end of this. Like I said before, I know it's not very in-depth, but it is quite difficult when all the models are exactly the same and the playstyles vary up very slightly. I'm hoping in the future they'll get the same kind of treatment as Chaos Space Marines, where they all get their own codexes and really flesh them out. And of course, like I also said, I did miss out on quite a few, but I hit the main ones, and the main ones kind of get all the different playstyles. The different one, like slightly smaller legions, will have similar playstyles in different ways. Now, but with that said, Alpha Legion are your sneaky, tactical, spy, James Bondy kind of Chaos Space Marines. You never quite know where they are, what they're doing. Are they good? Are they bad? What's going on? Black Legion are your well-rounded, also kind of tactical dudes. They do a bit of everything. They're the biggest ones in the lore, and they're super, super cool. And then when it comes to the Emperor's Children, they'll probably get their own like specific legion at some point with loads of cool new models and stuff. But basically, you know, they worship Slaanesh. You can ally in Slaanesh demons pretty well. You know, that they lean to shooting, but they can do a bit of everything. And they just seek perfection in pretty much everything they do. Then it comes to the Iron Warriors. Iron Warriors are your tanky kind of dudes. Lots of heavy weaponry, well, they like tanks as well. Lots of machinery. Absolutely great at siege warfare. And yeah, they're basically the opposite to the Imperial Guard. Oh, sorry, Imperial Fists. Then we get to Night Lords, which I said before, are basically your evil Batman dudes. You know, terror tactics, ambushing people, flaying them alive, wearing their skin, all that kind of good stuff. Wordbearers, once again, not too much about them. Well, I don't know too much about them. But they're zealous, religious guys. Lots of possessed, psychic powers, that kind of thing. World Eaters, one of my favorites because it's straight up corn. So you're just running across the field, smashing people in the face with axes. And yeah, you just want to run around destroying people. That's it. Death Guard are your tanky, mutated, diseased, gross guys that just slowly walk up the field and never die. And lastly, Thousand Suns are your extremely psychic heavy legion that are aligned with Tzeentch. So lots of mind games and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, guys, comment below what you thought about this video. I know there's probably a lot I've missed out. Not the greatest, most in-depth video I've ever done, but I plan on doing like specific, deeper videos in the future and stuff like that. And if this helped at all, also let me know down below. If you liked the video, you know what to do. And as always, if you enjoy this kind of content, maybe check out my channel and subscribe. But until then, guys, see you in the next one. Bye-bye.